This is a new Panasonic AG-UX90 camcorder, which has a 1-inch sensor and a 15 times Leica zoom lens. So this camcorder has been designed for run and gun purposes. So you can't get the shallow depth of field you can with a DVX200, but you can use it in a larger variety of situations where action's happening fast in front of you. Autofocus is excellent, but you've got full manual control over the lens with focus, zoom and iris controls on the barrel of the lens here. This camera can shoot full HD at up to 50 frames a second and UHD at 25 frames a second. So looking at the lens in more detail, if you're shooting full HD, the lens is the equivalent of 24.5mm at the wide end and 367.5mm at the telephoto end. When you're shooting UHD, this changes slightly, so you get 35mm at the wide end, but a great telephoto performance at 531 at the telephoto end of the zoom. For monitoring, we've got a flip-out screen here with 1.15 million pixels, and we've also got a viewfinder which has 1.5 million pixels, so very high-res viewfinder, which makes it very easy to focus this camera on the fly. There are two SD card slots here, and we can either record simultaneously to both cards for backup or relay record from one, and so when it fills we automatically switch to the next card. The maximum data rate of this camera is 100 megabits a second in UHD mode. This camera's got professional features like neutral density filters, which you can access here on a mechanical switch. Also, we've got XLR inputs for sound to give us professional quality audio. And there's one XLR input at the front here, which is very good for having a rifle mic on top of the camera. There's also an XLR input at the back, so if we're taking a house feed, we can plug it in here and not get the cables in the way of the front of the camera. Other connections, headphone socket, power input, and we have focus and zoom remote control support as well, so if we can put this in a small studio setup, for instance. We've also got composite and RCA jacks for audio. For video output, there is an HDMI socket at the back. This is capable of outputting UHD at up to 25 frames a second. The reason this camcorder will be so good for run and gun use is because of this 1-inch sensor. The 1-inch sensor is large enough to give us excellent sensitivity in low light, and the low light performance from this camera is excellent, but also it's small enough compared to large sensor cameras to give us the sort of depth of field we need when we're reacting to situations quickly. It's quite difficult to keep a large sensor camera in focus all the time, especially when you get very critical UHD focus. But this 1-inch sensor is a perfect compromise between creative ability to get a little shallow depth of field if we need it, but also that low light sensitivity and very good autofocus as well. The AG-UX90 is a fantastically flexible UHD camcorder. The combination of the 1-inch sensor and that 15 times Leica zoom lens gives us the ability to shoot in a huge variety of situations. It's also lightweight. At 1.9 kgs you can hold this all day and not really feel it. Battery life's good too, and that 5-axis image stabilization does give you a rock-steady picture even at the telephoto end of the zoom.